Now, the most important thing was to rescue Guhan. Lu Fan did not become complacent. Although the Divine Bone clone had been killed, he was still cautious and first sent out one of his mirror image projections to approach where Guhan was. Only after confirming it was safe did he bring the rest to Guhan's side. Teacher Guhan was currently trapped among white bones arranged in a chaotic manner, as though she was being imprisoned in a cage. These bones were incredibly hard, even Jianying could not break them. Lu Fan thought for a moment, took out his flaming meteor sword, had Xiao Qi give him a buff, and struck. With a crisp crack, to Jianying's surprise, the white bones imprisoning Guhan were broken by Lu Fan. It was normal that Lu Fan could easily split bones that Jianying could not cut through, given his extremely high strength attribute. Lu Fan wielded the flaming meteor sword, and with several consecutive strikes, he carved out a path. Lu Fan walked over to Guhan's side, and after confirming she was not in any life-threatening danger, he carried her out and handed her over to Han Qi and others to care for. Han Qi carefully gave Guhan some water. The previously unconscious Guhan instinctively drank as if receiving sweet dew, her complexion improving significantly. It was clear she would regain consciousness soon enough. Seeing how Teacher Guhan was fine, Lu Fan felt relieved and was about to suggest having Xiao Qi give her the Spring of Life buff, which might help her recover faster. However, at this moment, Lu Fan's black dragon perception suddenly made him sense something unusual. It caused him to turn his head toward where Guhan had been trapped. Earlier, Lu Fan's attention had been focused on Guhan, and he had not paid much attention to this place. Now, with one glance, Lu Fan discovered that this small space filled with white bones actually contained something. Just below where Guhan had fallen unconscious, there was a faint white mist slowly rising. It was almost invisible. Yet, Lu Fan could sense from this mist an aura similar to that of the Divine Bone clone. Seems like there is something underground. Take care of Teacher Guhan. I need to check something out. Lu Fan said to Jianying and the others, then returned to where Guhan had been trapped and began digging, where the white mist was emerging with his flaming meteor sword. With one strike, indeed, the mist became several times denser. Seeing Lu Fan busy at work, Xiao Qi, Xiao Ye, and Bao Bao, the three pet dragons, also came over and voluntarily helped Lu Fan dig. Only Xing Chen glanced at Lu Fan and her siblings, yawning boredly. She found a thick bone to lie on, closed her eyes, and did not bother to help at all. After digging for a while, Xiao Ye indeed made a discovery. She suddenly raised her mud-covered little head and excitedly called Fiang, twice at Lu Fan. Lu Fan hurried over and discovered that Xiao Ye had found something. About a meter underground, there was a stone emanating a milky white light. The faint mist from earlier was evaporating from this stone. This stone was like high-grade jade, crystal clear, and though only a palm-sized portion had been excavated, most of it was still buried in the soil. As for how big it actually was, that remained to be seen. Lu Fan brushed away some of the soil on top of it and could see its internal jade-like quality even more clearly, along with a white light spot continuously swirling within. The discovery of such an item delighted Lu Fan. This thing is most likely related to the Divine Bone, perhaps an extraordinary material. Come on, Xiao Yi, let's dig it out together. Lu Fan immediately became energetic, but he did not get carried away. Instead, he had Xiao Qi cast Jade Shield on everyone present, including the pet dragons, before continuing to excavate the stone. Lu Fan's cautiousness had almost become instinctive. Sure enough, as he suspected, when dealing with anything related to the ancient gods, no precaution was too much. While Lu Fan and his pet dragons were excavating the stone, the light spot swirling within suddenly burst out, transforming into a stream of light and flying toward the still unconscious Guhan nearby. However, this light spot did not hit Guhan, as it was deflected by the jade shield and bounced away. Seeing there was still an enemy, Bao Bao became extremely excited. He displayed speed that a magic attack specialized pet dragon should not possess. He flew straight at the light spot, and catching it with a woof, This was followed by vigorous head shaking. It was clear he was trying to bite the light spot to pieces. Lu Fan was startled, worried that his battle-hungry son might accidentally swallow something he should not. He immediately used Flash Spirit Leap, grabbed Bao Bao, and scolded, "Bao Bao, don't eat it. Spit it out." Bao Bao kept f-emfing, while biting down hard, showing no intention of letting go. Lu Fan's tone became more severe. It was only then did Bao Bao blink and stop biting, spewing it out. This saliva-covered item rolled twice on the ground before stopping, its light gradually dissipating to reveal its true form. Upon seeing this object, Lu Fan was overjoyed. After all, this thing was not unfamiliar to him. It was an ancient god essence! Lu Fan released Bao Bao and hurried to pick up the ancient god essence, confirming his suspicion. Semi-finished divine bone essence. Special item effect. Unknown. This was not exactly an ancient god essence, but rather a semi-finished ancient god essence. After thinking about it, Lu Fan understood. The divine bone probably had not recovered enough of its power to create a finished divine bone essence. This semi-finished divine bone essence was likely prepared for Guhan. If his group had arrived a bit later, and the divine bone had increased its power some more, it might have been able to refine this divine bone essence and turn Guhan into a divine bone slave. At that point, they would have had to kill Guhan to save her. Now, though, the divine bone essence was only semi-finished. Nevertheless, it was still an ancient god essence. Lu Fan wondered if having the fallen corpse Holy Dragon Kings consume this semi-finished divine bone essence might increase their power again. Thinking this, Lu Fan called over both fallen corpse Holy Dragon Kings, intending to feed them the divine bone essence. However, the usually obedient fallen corpse Holy Dragon Kings showed obvious aversion. They looked at each other with the intention of pushing the other forward, all while being unwilling to step up themselves. Lu Fan was puzzled, wondering if consuming ancient god essences was always that painful. After all, it was enough to make the two fallen corpse Holy Dragon King brothers force their sibling to eat it instead of themselves. No. That shouldn't be right. They hadn't shown any aversion when being fed the Holy Land essence the last time. At this point, Xiao Ku's thoughts came through their spiritual connection. She helped Lu Fan understand what the two fallen corpse Holy Dragon Kings were actually repulsed by. Lu Fan helplessly called out to Tao Xiaoman, "Tao Zi, cast a skill for me. I need you to help me wash this thing." A Tao Xiaoman was clearly stunned, complaining, "Wait! Are you treating me like a faucet? I'm a powerful water sword god, you know. Someone with a hidden profession." Despite her complaints, Tao Xiaoman still cast her skill, allowing Lu Fan to clean the divine bone essence. "All right, it's clean now. No more of Bao Bao's saliva. Okay, who wants to eat it?" Lu Fan asked the fallen corpse Holy Dragon Kings. The two fallen corpse Holy Dragon Kings became noticeably more cheerful, coming forward and opening their mouths. Indeed, their refusal earlier was entirely due to their disgust at Bao Bao's saliva. Understanding this, Bao Bao was clearly unhappy. If Xiao Ye had not been beside him going ang to mediate, he probably would have given the fallen corpse Holy Dragon Kings a couple of roaring thunder attacks. Lu Fan could not help but laugh, then tossed the divine bone essence to one of the fallen corpse Holy Dragon Kings. Sure enough, after a fallen corpse Holy Dragon King swallowed the divine bone essence, changes started to occur. Though they were minor this time, just a few additional white streaks appeared in the purplish-black mist surrounding them. Is it because this is only a semi-finished ancient god essence? Is that why there is not much of a change in the fallen corpse Holy Dragon Kings? Lu Fan was a bit disappointed, but when he checked the fallen corpse Holy Dragon King's attributes, he found that there had been more changes. While the fallen corpse Holy Dragon King's name and attributes had not changed, they had gained a new skill. Divine Bone Fusion's active. LVMEX can absorb 1% of summon, pet, or puppet attributes and convert them to caster's own attributes. Lu Fan stared at this skill for a long time before belatedly realizing just how overpowered it was. although only 1% of attributes were converted. The Fallen Corpse Holy Dragon Kings had the Fallen Corpse control skill that could enslave an unlimited number of monsters as puppets. Moreover, the Fallen Corpse Holy Dragon Kings could absorb all these puppets and convert them into its own attributes. Does this not mean the Fallen Corpse Holy Dragon King's growth would be practically limitless? In terms of skills, the Fallen Corpse Holy Dragon King might still lag behind pure Blood Dragon Kings. But now, in terms of attributes, they could surely surpass all of Lu Fan's other pet dragons. The first thing Lu Fan thought of was using the entire 9 Hell Demons army for the Fallen Corpse Holy Dragon King to absorb. If the entire 9 Hell Demons army was to be absorbed by the Fallen Corpse Holy Dragon Kings, perhaps just one Fallen Corpse Holy Dragon King could challenge a level 90 epic grade boss like the Divine Bone clone. Caro, shameless Divine Bone, you have really given me, Lu Fan, an amazing skill. In Lu Fan's eyes, most of the 9 Hell Demons army were just cannon fodder. Except for a few bosses, which had combat power worthy of his attention, the remaining monsters had very poor attributes. Of course, the monsters that Lu Fan considered to be weak were still formidable existences in ordinary people's eyes. However, Lu Fan had long felt that the more than 100,000 strong 9 Hell Demons army had little use besides what they were doing now, which was threatening various cities in Extremistis country. Lu Fan had sent the 9 Hell Demons army away from the Divine Bone Forest to sweep through various parts of Extremistis country and create chaos. Besides taking revenge, another reason was because Lu Fan wanted to trim down some of the monsters in the 9 Hell Demons army. This was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. He was essentially keeping to his word in getting his revenge, while also reducing some redundant forces under him. However, now with this Divine Bone fusion skill, these monsters that Lu Fan saw no value in could now be put to some use. They could be absorbed to become attributes for the Fallen Corpse Holy Dragon Kings. In the 9 Hell Demons army, Lu Fan only needed to keep true bosses like the 9 Hell Demons and the Demon Generals. The rest, the mobs, could all be used for Divine Bone fusion. Speaking of which, it had been several days since Lu Fan sent out the 9 Hell Demons army. He was not really sure about the current situation of Extremistis country. But, without a doubt, they must have caused significant damage to the country. Moreover, Lu Fan had noticed that in the past 2 days, the number of Fallen Corpse puppets was decreasing faster and faster. This clearly showed that Extremistis country had started organizing an effective counter-force. Though strong, the 9 Hell Demons army's strongest force was just 9 level 85 epic grade monsters after all. Destroying a country was impossible. Lu Fan was already satisfied with this much. At the same time, Lu Fan knew that it was time to recall the entire army back. Letting them continue on rampaging would unlikely cause more damage, but the rate of loss on his end would only increase. After all, those truly powerful players that had hidden themselves in Extremistis country would most likely emerge one by one to fight for their country. Therefore, Lu Fan ordered the Fallen Corpse Holy Dragon Kings to recall all the Fallen Corpse puppets. In a while, he would use Divine Bone Fusion to absorb all the mobs to increase the attributes of both Fallen Corpse Holy Dragon Kings. Following Lu Fan's order, the whole 9 Hell Demons army across Extremistis country were recalled into the puppet subspace. By this time, many cities in Extremistis country had already set up layers of defenses, just waiting to face the Fallen Corpse puppet siege. They were determined to kill all the Fallen Corpse puppets and stop them from continuing to wreak havoc in Extremistis country. However, these people were destined to waste their time and effort. After recalling the Fallen Corpse puppets, Lu Fan did not immediately have the Fallen Corpse Holy Dragon Kings absorb them. Instead, he returned to where the Divine Bone essence was discovered. He clearly remembered that the Divine Bone essence had condensed from that stone they had dug up earlier. If the Divine Bone essence is already so useful, then this stone must not be anything ordinary. May by now the hardworking Xiao Q had excavated most of the stone. Lu Fan pried it a couple times with his flaming meteor sword and actually managed to lever the stone out. This stone was perfectly round, about the size of 2 human heads. It had white mist swirling around it, making it look like an enormous mystical pearl. Moreover, it was extremely heavy. Even with Lu Fan's incredibly high strength attribute, it took him quite some effort to completely dig it out. However, when he appraised this item, Lu Fan was overjoyed. Ancient God Crystal Special Item Effect Unknown. The term Ancient God Crystal was not unfamiliar to Lu Fan. This was one of the materials needed to create the Shadow Dragon King contract! Furthermore, since this Ancient God Crystal could condense Ancient God Essence, its effects must be greater than Ancient God Essence. However, Lu Fan knew too little about Ancient Gods. Right now, besides being able to create the Shadow Dragon King contract, he did not know what other uses this Ancient God Crystal might have. That's fine, I can store it in my inventory for now. If I could find a way to nurture new Ancient God Essences, that would be best. If not, I can use it directly to create the Shadow Dragon King contract. With creating the Shadow Dragon King contract, now possibly, it could finally be put on the agenda. Once he could make the contract, Lu Fan would have another Dragon King of the same level as Xiao Kui, which would definitely cause his combat power to surge again. Lu Fan happily stored the Ancient God Crystal in his inventory, feeling that today had truly been full of gains. At this time, Guhan also woke up. Lu Fan immediately had Xiao Kui buffed her with Spring of Life, then hurried over to check on her condition. Guhan had fainted purely from being trapped here without food and water until her strength gave out. She had not been injured nor turned into a divine bone slave by the divine bone essence. Thus, after regaining consciousness, Guhan was excited and greatly relieved. Her emotions were overflowing so much that she completely forgot to keep her demeanor as a teacher and kept thanking Lu Fan and the others. Han Ki and the rest quickly comforted her and took out water and food for her to eat and replenish her strength. Guhan nodded and ravenously devoured whatever was given to her. Lu Fan took this opportunity to have the Fallen Corpse Holy Dragon Kings open the puppet subspace, to summon out all the mobs from the 9 Hell Demons army for the Fallen Corpse Holy Dragon Kings to absorb. Those mobs let out a whimper as their bodies rapidly decayed, first turning into white bones, then into mist that seeped into the Fallen Corpse Holy Dragon Kings. As the Fallen Corpse Holy Dragon Kings absorbed them, their attributes rapidly increased. Lu Fan discovered that, because the 2 Fallen Corpse Holy Dragon Kings were twin stars, their attributes were completely identical. So, even when one dragon absorbed more, the other would gain the same increase in attributes. Therefore, Lu Fan had the 2 dragons work separately and just quickly absorb the 9 Hell Demons army's mobs. This scene left all the girls, including Guhan, stunned. They naturally did not know what Lu Fan was doing. However, it was understandable that they did not understand given how many trump cards Lu Fan had. It was also not convenient or polite of them to ask too many questions. Soon, Lu Fan spent an hour absorbing almost all the monsters of the 9 Hell Demons army. In the end, Lu Fan only kept the 9 Hell Demons, 5 National Guardians, and some bosses from the Demon Army, like the Demon Knights. After absorbing the attributes of so many monsters, the Fallen Corpse Holy Dragon King's attributes had surpassed Xiao Ye. Putting aside skill power, just looking at their attributes, they were definitely the strongest forces under Lu Fan's command. Seeing his 2 Fallen Corpse Holy Dragon Kings obtain such high attributes, Lu Fan, as their Grandmaster, was naturally extremely excited. However, his ambitions did not stop there. He then turned his attention to the Divine Bone clone. I wonder if, with the Fallen Corpse Holy Dragon King's current attributes, under Xiao Ku's buffs, could they surpass a level 90 epic grade boss attributes? If so, we might be able to turn this into a Fallen Corpse puppet. Having a bone dragon as a summon would make my power skyrocket, wouldn't it? Lu Fan fitted the dragon saddle on a Fallen Corpse Holy Dragon King, then gave it full buffs to maximize its attributes. Lu Fan mounted the Fallen Corpse Holy Dragon King, and had it use fallen corpse control to see if it could turn the divine bone clone into a fallen corpse puppet. To Lu Fan's disappointment, fallen corpse control had no effect on the divine bone clone. This clearly showed the fallen corpse Holy Dragon King's attributes were still not enough to surpass the divine bone clone. Although the fallen corpse Holy Dragon Kings could control the 9 hell demons, the divine bone clone's attributes were far more than 5 levels above the 9 hell demons. It would be a shame to give up on such a powerful boss, though. Even if it meant fusing the demon generals, I want it. It want to get my own divine bone clone! So, Lu Fan steeled his resolve and decided to continue letting the fallen corpse Holy Dragon Kings absorb more monsters from the demon army until fallen corpse control could work on the divine bone clone. Following a weakest elimination system, Lu Fan first used the guards of 9 hell demons' army. After all, these were currently the weakest fallen corpse puppets. So far, they were at best cannon fodder. For cannon fodder, he could always make more with fallen corpse control when needed. After all, monsters were plentiful. They were everywhere. Lu Fan had about 1,000 of these guard bosses. After fusing them all into the fallen corpse Holy Dragon Kings, their attributes rose another level. However, the divine bone clone still showed no reaction, though the hundreds of divine bone flying dragons that Lu Fan had killed earlier were affected by the fallen corpse control skill and had come back to life. Lu Fan naturally did not hesitate to absorb the divine bone flying dragons as well. At the same time, more bosses from the 9 hell demons' army were also absorbed into the fallen corpse Holy Dragon Kings. At this point, Lu Fan's puppet sub-space only had the 9 hell demons and level 85 diamond grade bosses like the Demon General and the 5 national guardians left. Lu Fan had even decided that if the divine bone clone still could not be turned into a fallen corpse puppet, he would have no choice but to absorb the demon generals like the Demon General as well. Fortunately, the fallen corpse Holy Dragon Kings proved capable. After fusing with so many monsters, their attributes finally surpassed the divine bone clone. Under the purplish-black mist, the divine bone clone stirred. Its body, which had turned to ash, regained its luster, gradually losing its charred appearance and was reforming. Finally, a massive bone dragon stood there again, majestic and imposing, giving off an immense pressure. Roar! A dragon roar emerged from the bone dragon's mouth, its pressure enough to tremble the air, which startled Jian Ying and the others. Their reaction was still quite tame, though, since they had seen Lu Fan use fallen corpse control to revive the 5 national guardians as fallen corpse puppets. Thus, this sight was not too surprising for them. It was only Guhan who did not know that this reformed bone dragon was now Lu Fan's fallen corpse puppet. She turned pale with fright and instinctively warned Lu Fan and the others to run. It was not until Jian Ying told Guhan this was Lu Fan's skill that she finally relaxed. Afterward, she fell into deep questioning. What was reality? Was this not a dream? Although she did not know much about the divine bone clone, she could sense this bone dragon's power. Lu Fan was already unbelievably strong, and now he had another bone dragon. Just what was he capable of in the future? Of course, if Guhan knew this bone dragon was a level 90 epic grade boss, she would have been even more shocked for words. After all, once past level 90, whether monster or human, their strength would take a qualitative leap. Just like how the 5 national guardians working together could kill the 9 hell demons in the past, would not be able to do so with this divine bone clone. Although only 5 levels higher than the 9 hell demons, it alone could easily defeat the 5 national guardians. Lu Fan looked at this enormous bone dragon with satisfaction. After all the sacrifices, at least I reached my goal in the end. Now Lu Fan's forces were basically all elites. Not only did he have 6 pet dragons, but his fallen corpse puppets even consisted of 1 level 90 epic grade boss, 9 level 85 epic grade bosses, the 5 national guardians, and 9 level 85 diamond grade bosses. Such a force could definitely shake a medium-sized country if he could create the Shadow Dragon King contract in the future. Lu Fan estimated that even major countries like Feather Country and Star Strip Country would have to stand straight and listen when he spoke. Of course, thinking about this was still premature. Did he not need to currently take revenge against a certain country, right in front of him? Although Lu Fan knew the 9 hell demons alone could not threaten extremistis country further, which is partially why he had recalled them now, this did not mean his revenge against this country would stop here. Truth be told, he was still livid by what had happened. He had just come here to clear a dungeon instance. But extremistis country had to provoke him, and they even killed so many people that he knew. He naturally had to teach them a good lesson. Beside him, Tao Xiaoman started exclaiming again when she saw Lu Fan enslave the Divine Bone clone. Though they were used to Lu Fan making them question reality, enslaving a level 90 epic grade boss still gave them too much of a shock. Lu Fan just smiled at this, checked the Divine Bone clone's attributes, then put it away. After about 2 hours of rest, Guhan's condition had greatly improved. Hanqi's enchanted food added attributes in every dish, helping everyone restore their stamina after eating. Plus, with Xiao Q's Spring of Life's fueling effect, in just 2 hours, Guhan had recovered to normal. Though rescued, when mentioning the tragically killed Dragon Capital University teachers and the teaching assistants, Guhan still could not hide her pain in her eyes.